Hey rollers, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma and it has been a hot minute and a half since the last time I filmed anything. I'm not gonna make excuses. If you watch my channel, you know that I disappear and reappear on the reg when it comes to YouTube. I don't know why. I don't have excuses. It just happens that way. It is just the way that the cookie crumbles for me. But anyways, I wanted to make a Wheel of TBR for August 2021. I want to do a quick disclaimer. You might hear a high-pitched beeping noise. One of the fire alarms in my house needs new batteries and I haven't gotten around to changing it yet because it's like awkwardly placed over my stairs. That's a lot of information that you do not need to know. So if you hear it, that's what it is. Also, you might notice that some of the prompts are different on the wheel. I was doing Wheel of TBR slightly without filming it, or I would film it and the quality would be really bad or stuff like that. Before I even start Wheel of TBR, I do want to say that I am going to continue taking part in Books in Lala's Buzzwordathon for the year. Even when I haven't been filming videos, I have completed it for every month except for one. I can't remember what the month was, but I didn't complete it. We'll be doing it this month. I believe August's theme is some sort of time of day theme, which I have a lot of books with the word night in it, so hopefully some spin will get me a book that I can use. But yeah, so if you have never watched my Wheel of TBR, this is my wheel. I got it off of Amazon. It was pretty cheap and I did steal the idea from Cody's Book Corner. I believe she's the first one who ever did it. I will link her down below. But here are my rules. So any book that I don't finish in a month, I have to replace with red circles, and those are more negative prompts. The one on the board right now is Ugly Cover. And because I haven't done Wheel of TBR for a while and I don't even remember what my last filmed Wheel of TBR was, I'm gonna replace my first circle with a red one and then the rest will just be white circles because it's my game and I make the rules for it. But then I do 5 spins for every month for our physical books, and then I also will do one auditory book, or one audio book will also be a spin. Typically my audiobooks are a little more mood read, but you know, it is what it is. And I will replace each circle as I go. I have a bunch of red and a bunch of white prompts that I can interchange it with. My only other rule is, let's say I just replaced debut just because I don't have anything else on the board right now, or I do but I don't have anything in that spot, and I spin it and I land on the blue again, I have to spin again. So I can't do the same triangle twice in a row. If I spin and I get debut, I choose my debut book, I replace it, I spin again, and I land on, let's say, the yellow one. I get my disability rep, replace again, spin one more time, and I land on the blue. That's fine. It just cannot be twice in a row. I put this wheel together and I am not very good with a screwdriver, so it's a little unbalanced, so that's kind of the reason why I do that. But yeah, let me get my bag of red prompts and we can draw our red prompt. So this is my bag of red prompts and I'm gonna draw a prompt out of here. If you have any ideas for red prompts, more negative prompts, you can always leave them in the comments because I don't have a lot in here, as you can probably tell. But let's see. All right, keep my eye closed for a second. Hopefully that is the right way for you guys. It wasn't. All right, so this is a Rory Gilmore challenge. If you guys watch Gilmore Girls, you know that there are so many books that Rory Gilmore referenced throughout the series. A lot of these books are classics and really hard books, but I found a list online on BuzzFeed, I will link it down below, that has every book that they ever referenced in Gilmore Girls. So if it lands on this, I have to pick one of those books to read for the month. I will say too, I do want to eventually read every book that was referenced in Gilmore Girls, but most of those books are really intimidating, so that's why it is a red circle instead of a white circle. All right, so spin number 1. Also, just for that rule, it cannot land on this one for the first spin. All right, the first spin got is a book that has an author that is LGBTQIA. It can be anywhere within the LGBTQIA spectrum as long as it is confirmed by the author that they are somewhere within the LGBTQIA. And anyway, it is representation for LGBTQIA. I will go pick my book. So I looked through my spreadsheet with all my books on it, where I've already kind of done some like baseline research, and from what I found, this author is a gay author. I've never read anything by them, but it is All We Can Do Is Wait by Richard Lawson. This book, I believe it's like about some sort of crash. I think it's like a bus crash or something, and they're just waiting to figure out who's going to survive and who isn't. I found this book on Book Outlet, and the summary when I read it appealed to me. I haven't read the summary since. I try not to read summaries too often. I know I used to read them to you guys, but I'm actually going to give up that as well, so I can go in as blind as possible to almost every book that I read and just tell you guys what I know. And that way, if you want to know more about it, you can watch my wrap-ups. All We Can Do Is Wait by Richard Lawson is my pick for LGBTQIA+ author. All right, it is time to replace the LGBTQIA circle. So I'm gonna hold it so you guys can see it. And sorry, I don't know if you guys could hear that big truck, but I'm gonna let it pass. I live on like a main drag kind of, so I feel like if you watch my videos, you know I'm constantly having to stop for traffic. All right, let's try again. All right. All right, illustrated cover. That's hard to read, but I promise you that's what it says, that it's an illustrated cover. All right, and you know, as the rules, it can't land on illustrated cover, but it can land on Rory Gilmore. Are we ready? Disability rep. So this book is any book that features some sort of disability rep, whether it is a visible disability or an invisible disability. I know I have some up on my TBR shelf. It also might end up being my audiobook, depending on what I can find. The Wheel also spun disability rep. So for disability rep, I chose If You Knew Her, which from what I understand is about a woman who got into like a car accident and is now paralyzed and has what's called lock-in syndrome, where you are aware of everything that's going on around you, but you can't do anything. And I think they're trying to solve the mystery of how she got into a car accident. I think that's what this book is about. It's, again, just like some of the other books I've talked about, it's a book that I read the summary on Book Outlet and I bought it during one of my huge Book Outlet shopping sprees. So I don't know much about If You Knew Her by Emily Elgar, because I just realized I didn't talk at all about that, but I'm excited, I'm intrigued, and we're gonna learn together. Not together, because I won't do a vlog for it most likely, but we will learn what If I Knew Her was about. All right, let's pick out our replacement for disability rep. A book that is 10+ years old. Let me know in the comments if you think that the next time when I take it off the wheel next time and I put it back in this box, if I should make this into a red circle. I don't typically read things that are more than 10 years old, so it might be worth it. Let me know what you think. All right, spin number, lined up yet? Spin number 3. The Rory Gilmore Book Challenge! So this is a book that was at some point featured on Gilmore Girls or referenced. I'm gonna have to go find that list and pick a book off of it. All right, so the wheel spun me a circle for the Rory Gilmore Challenge, which, as I kind of explained already, there's a list of books that are all like, I looked it up, I think it's like 333 or 330 or like 230 something, some hundred number with 30 books that were referenced in Gilmore Girls during its run. It was a BuzzFeed article, and I actually looked through it like for the first time in years, and I've read a decent amount of books on it. I need to like figure out a way to track all the books, but I ended up choosing Emma by Jane Austen, and it's going to be my auditory, that's not the right way to say it, my audio book for the month of August, or my audio spin for the month of August. I've seen the movie. It's based, or one of my favorite movies is based on it, which is Clueless. With Alicia Silverstein. I love that movie. I also love anything that has my name in it, it's probably kind of egotistical and stuff, but I chose Emma as my Rory Gilmore challenge book, and my auditory, why do I keep calling it auditory today? My audio book for the month of August. All right, and because we got one of the red circles off the wheel, we can go back and pick in here. A Goodreads recommendation book. So basically how I do my Goodreads recommendations is I go to the last book that I rated 5 stars, and I pick a book that like is in that section where it says like books that other people who have read this book have also enjoyed. So if this comes up for the 5th spin, that's what we'll do. All right, we ready? Spin number 4. A TBR Vet. This is also one that could possibly become a red circle. You guys let me know what you think of that too. But this is just a book that I've had on my TBR for a while. I don't have a lot of ramifications about what makes it a TBR Vet book.
Hey, editing, Emma here. I hope you can't hear my air conditioner, it's kind of loud. But I did want to just make a point from this. I just said ramifications, that there weren't a lot of ramifications for what made something a TBR, but I actually meant parameters. I know the difference between ramification and parameters. The wrong word just came out, but I just wanted to let you know. Enjoy the rest of the video.
I just kind of, when I made like a spreadsheet I have of all the books I own, I just picked ones that kind of stand out as being on my TBR for a while. The Wheel also spun a TBR Vet, so a book that I've determined has been on my TBR for a long time. And I ended up picking Amy, Chelsea, Stacy D by Mary G. Thomas. This book has been on my TBR for such a long time. This book was on my TBR when I used to go to bookstores and take pictures of books because I didn't know about Goodreads yet. And I've wanted to read it forever, and I just never would buy it for some reason. But then it came up, I think on like a Book Outlet, or I found it really cheap on Amazon or something like that, and I was like, I gotta buy it, I gotta read it. That was like 2 years ago. So I'm finally going to read Amy, Chelsea, Stacy D. What month are we going into? In August. I will read this in August. Right, and our last replacement of the video to replace TBR Vet, we're gonna pick this one, which is a new release. So this won't come up this video, but if a new release does come up in the future, it is any book that was released within the last 3 months is how I am qualifying my new releases. And the final spin for August 2021. All right, I just want to say that felt like an amazing spin. And it is a book that is 10 plus years old. Oh, this is going to be a hard TBR, I feel like. All right. So I'm going to go find a book that is 10 plus years old. This was normally going to be my cop-out for an audiobook, but Rory Gilmore was also supposed to be a really easy cop-out for an audiobook. All right, I'm going to go pick out a book. And then my wheel also spun a book that is 10 plus years old, which is really interesting that 2 circles that could be moved over to a red circle in the future, and if you think they should, you should let me know, got spun this month because this is one of them. And it was also perfect timing because I actually just filmed my 2nd round of 5-star predictions, and which will go up sometime probably in the next week or so. And I said to myself that I was gonna give up on my original 5 stars and not do a wrap-up video, and this is still probably true, but there was one book that I hadn't read from my original 5-star predictions, and that spun, and I was able to fit it in actually to 2 prompts this month, but I chose to put it on my 10 plus year old book prompt because I can, and that was Love, Rosie by Cecilia Ahern. This is, again, one of my favorite movies is based on this book. This is about a girl named Rosie who is in love with her best friend, and he's in love with someone else, and it's kind of like a coming of age in their 20s, will they, won't they story. I love this movie. Obviously this edition is not 10 plus years old, but I love, love, love this book. Like, Chef's Kiss, or not this book, this movie is one of my all-time favorite movies. I talk about it pretty regularly on the videos I've done, but I cannot wait to read this book. It's a little bit of a chunker, which makes me a little bit nervous because I have not read 4 books in a month in a while. So I'm a little bit nervous because it's a little bit of a chunker, but it will probably be my biggest priority for this month will be to read this book, and you guys actually might get a 5-star wrap up depending on how I feel about this book. But I'm excited to read it. So for the first time since doing Wheel of TBR and while doing Books in Lala's Buzzwordathon, none of my books fit the prompt for the month, which is any words that have to do with time of day. So day, night, midnight, dawn, dusk, all those kind of things. So I do have to add a 6th book to my TBR, and it will not count next month for a red circle if I don't read it, but that is going to be The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstein, is I think what her name is. I don't know a lot about what this book is about. This is one of those books that could have fit into my TBR, but I don't remember what this is about at all. I know that I either read the summary or heard about it on BookTube and was like, yeah, I want to read that. So we'll see how I feel. Like I said, I'm going to listen to it. And a lot of times I do better with books that are not in my comfort zone if I listen to them, so I'm not super worried about it. But yeah, that will be my Buzzwordathon book. I also need to try to finish July's Buzzwordathon book in the next like 7 days. Because I'm filming this on the 24th, so I have time to edit it so that it can go up on August 1st. And I think I should be able to finish that book. And I love the book. I'm reading One Last Stop, and I've really been enjoying it, but I'm also exhausted, so I'm not reading. What came first, the chicken or the egg? You know, that's where I kind of am in life right now. But yeah. So here is the August TBR of things that I own. So Love, Rosie, All We Can Do Is Wait, If You Knew Her, and Amy, Chelsea, Stacy, and Dee, or not Anne, just Amy, Chelsea, Stacy, Dee, as well as Emma and The Night Circus. So hopefully I can get through all these books in the month of July. Fingers crossed. Like I said, I have not read 4 books in a month in a while, but also that might make it fun. We can do more red circles when I hopefully film this for September. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in my next video, which I've already filmed, which means you guys will definitely see a video from me before September's Wheel of TBR. And I have some other ideas in mind of videos I want to do. I just need to plan them and get them going. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video. Bye, Worlders. I can do is, I lost some. My God, why can't I think of the word? None of the let me start over. I lost my train of thought. Chugga, 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 chugga.